Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Saturday, December 20th. Ian Cameron with you, and coming into this show today, we obviously know Alex is back in Chicago. He will return to the show tomorrow. We knew Alex wasn't going to be on today. Normally, we've got Ryan Robinson with us. He's traveling back to Tahoe, though, for a Christmas gathering of the Robinson clan, so he's unable to join us as he usually does on Saturdays. And Kyle Bond is going to join us in the new year. He was initially hoping to be on today, but we're going to get him on in the new year instead. A lot going on family-wise with him close to the holidays. So I said, I either do this show on my own or we call on someone from the bullpen. And all of a sudden I started thinking, you know what? There's that big Minnesota Wild fan that's a friend of the show here. His name's Terry Edelman, and he always says whenever you need a late fill-in, call on me and I'll try to join the show. And so that's exactly what I did, and he's here. And I had a feeling with the red-hot surge that we have seen from his beloved Minnesota Wild since the acquisition of one Quinn Hughes, that he wouldn't mind another opportunity, another platform, another 5-10 minutes or so to wax poetic about what's going on with the Minnesota Wild right now. Terry Edelman, am I right? How are you, my friend? Things good?
Yeah, it's tough to be a Wild fan and complain about anything right now. Things have been going really well. Obviously, regarding that trade, we gave up a lot. The Wild gave up a lot. Zebulon's going to have a great career. I don't like that he had to be involved in the trade, but when you are a team that's lost in the first round for 10 plus years, and what your general manager and general managers before him have done is make those little additions, those third line centers late at the deadline, a couple fourth line guys, hoping that will push you over the hump. And that has not worked. That has not worked. So Bill Guerin decided to go all in and acquire a franchise defenseman in Quinn Hughes. So I love the move. Absolutely love the move. Because things have not worked with what the Wild have done in the past. So it's time to switch things up. And I've absolutely loved Quinn Hughes so far in a Wild jersey. Still getting used to things, you can tell. Still not 100% in the system and ready, but we're still seeing flashes of how great of a player he is.
We are. And I said this to Jonathan Davis in our group chat last night. Talking about how obviously Vancouver's been thriving without Quinn Hughes, now 3-0. The Canucks since they traded Quinn Hughes. And my takeaway is, you know what? Sometimes it's good for one team to move on from a certain player, and sometimes it's great for one team to acquire and add a certain player. And that's okay if that's what this Canucks Wild trade ends up being. There's nothing wrong. It's perfectly fine that the Vancouver Canucks, addition by subtraction, are a lot better right now, just dressing room wise, chemistry wise, just overall vibe on and off the ice. It's totally fine that they're better off without Quinn Hughes. There's nothing wrong with that. It was just time. You know, you saw how miserable he was this season with the Vancouver Canucks, and obviously the struggles they had. Nothing wrong with the Canucks saying, hey, we're better off for trading Quinn Hughes and not having him around anymore. Just like it's equally fine and nothing wrong with the Minnesota Wild adding Quinn Hughes and saying we're a lot better team with him because he adds mobility, he adds punch from the blue line, he can play on the power play and really give us a jolt there. Nothing wrong with both teams coming out of a trade like that, Terry, saying, hey, we like where we're at and we think we're better off for it.
And he's elevating other players like Brock Faber. I've always loved Brock Faber, of course, but throughout this season so far, maybe not so noticeable. But since Quinn Hughes has been acquired, Brock Faber is extremely noticeable on the ice in a good way. So, yeah, just bringing him in has elevated everyone else in the lineup. So it's great to see.
Yeah, no question. Very interesting to see how this goes. But like I said, for so far so good. The Canucks and the Wild both undefeated since that trade went down. As always, we'll begin with a recap of last night. Very brief. I mean, there was a very short card, so I'll be quick with the recap. Carolina, Florida was the game of the night. That was an absolutely tremendous game. Incredible finish. Heartbreaking for those that had Carolina. A small piece of Carolina there in that game. First time playing Florida since the loss in the playoffs. What a crazy ending, though. And Carolina, usually a team you can count on with a 3-0 lead in the third period. But Florida with a little magic. And, you know, we've talked about for weeks this Panthers team, the buy sign, turning things around. Now 7-1 in their last 8 games after that comeback win last night against the Hurricanes, getting the job done and coming back 4-3. Just a gut-wrenching loss for Carolina. I guess that's the bad news. The good news is we'll be talking about them later. They get to bounce back, play again 24 hours. It's sometimes after a loss like that, it's almost a great thing that you're playing the very next night. You know, you get to shake that off and move on to playing Tampa Bay. But that's a real tough loss there for Carolina last night in that game. So Florida with the comeback 4-3 there against Carolina. Great hockey game. It had some good intensity to it as well. You can tell that those two teams have had some playoff history. Canucks and Islanders, because I noticed you post something about the crazy trend with overs in those two teams head-to-head, and I did jump on it, although I kept it a small bet, Terry, and I'll tell you why, because I thought that game, just from a personnel standpoint, it didn't jive with a high-scoring game with everybody out of the lineup that was out, although Barzal was a late addition for the Islanders. He did end up playing, but the Islanders hadn't been scoring lately. Vancouver's been a crazy under team of late. You're really digging in defensively. The goalies have been in great form lately, Sorokin and especially Demko, who's been just sensational here these last few games for Vancouver since coming back from injury. But I took a shot with the over just because of the series history. It was 10 straight overs. It was 14-1 to the over in the last 15 meetings. I know Matt Robinson jumped in on that too. It is what it is. You know, it's a tough loss. You move on. Don't regret it. It's just, it is what it is. Still, you know, when you have series history like that, I'm still usually going to bet an over in that kind of spot. But the Canucks get a 4-1 win over the Islanders. Like I said, Demko was great. They were opportunistic early, and now they're starting to clamp down on defense. And it's taken a while because they were a train wreck defensively. But all of a sudden, when you're getting big-time goaltending, it's amazing how much better a defensive team you can become. And we're seeing that right now for the Vancouver Canucks. Nice 4-1 win there for the Islanders, or for over the Islanders. New Jersey, even with Markstrom in net, I did bet New Jersey. I would have bet it more if it was Jake Allen. I was frustrated it wasn't Jake Allen, but I stuck with it because I liked the spot. With Utah coming home off a road trip, it was 4th game in 6 nights. The last time they came off a road trip, Terry, they lost at home to LA the first game after coming home. The last time they came home off a road trip. So I like the value with Jersey. Didn't love it because of Markstrom being in net, but they got the job done, 2-1. So we cashed a small plus price winner there with New Jersey. And Matt Robinson, yes, bargain bin special for him last night. One of his 2 bargain bins was Stefan Nason, power play point. That was over plus 500, I believe, the price on that. So way to go, Matt. Good stuff. He was in action on the ice. He actually is the one freaking person on this show regularly that actually plays hockey. He was playing with his Reno Ice Raiders last night in a game on a Friday night. But a great call there with Stefan Nason, power play point for Matt with one of his 2 bargain bins on the show yesterday. 2-1 win there for New Jersey. Colorado 3-2 against Winnipeg. Good news, bad news. Goal in the first 5 minutes. Lost for only the second time in the last 15 Colorado home games, but it is still 13-2. First goal in the first 5 minutes. 13-2 in the last 15 Colorado home games. But the first period over got there. Best bet for me on the show. Best bet for Matt Robinson on the show yesterday. We both had Jets, Avs, first period over. Note this, Terry, with Colorado home games. I mentioned 13-2 to the goal in the first 5 minutes, their last 15 home games. 14-1 now for Colorado first period overs in their last 15 home games. 14-1 run for Colorado first period overs, and that run continued last night with the 2 goals they put up in the first period en route to that 3-2 victory over the Avalanche. That was a pretty good hockey game too. Jets played pretty hard, they came back, made it interesting, but fall short. It's just very difficult to beat the Colorado Avalanche at Ball Arena. They have still yet to lose a game in regulation time on home ice. this season. And the last game of the night was the Dallas Stars. Everything's coming up Matty Robinson, man. He cashes his bargain bin. He cashes his best bet. He's playing hockey last night. And then his Dallas Stars just lay a thumping on the Anaheim Ducks, 8-3. What a beatdown it was. They chased Lukas Dostal in the first period of that game after they made it 4-1. And then they make it 7-1 by the end of the second period. And then they roll to an 8-3 victory in that game over the Anaheim Ducks. Very impressive showing. The offense just lit it up. We saw 2 points for Miro Heiskanen, 2 points for Radek Faksa, a goal for Oscar Beck. Another great night for Jason Robertson. 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points for him. Rope Hintz, a goal and an assist for 2 points. It was just when Ilya Lyubushkin is scoring a goal for you, you're having a good offensive night. So Dallas, nice couple of games here to begin the road trip against San Jose and Anaheim. And they'll go home to play the struggling Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow. So we'll see how that one goes. But Terry, your thoughts on Friday? Any observations, thoughts, and how did it go for you?
Yeah, that first game, Carolina, Florida, I completely passed on that one. I thought of it kind of as of a toss-up. And it really ended up being a toss-up. Great comeback win for the Panthers. Now having to play again, now facing St. Louis today, kind of a bottom feeder from the West. That's always a tough spot to play the next day against a bottom feeder. That Vancouver-New York Islanders game, I am a capper that really believes in series history in the NHL. Now, of course, it's not shouldn't be 100% of your capping, of course, but in the NHL, I do find series history does matter. Got close there at the end, but unfortunately, the Islanders only putting up 1 goal, so the over did not get there. The Colorado game was interesting. I kind of leaned with Colorado on the puck line. Glad that I stayed off there. Took Dylan Guenther anytime goal in the Utah game, which unfortunately didn't cash. And then the Dallas game, Dallas money line was a premium play for me. I was doing my show yesterday and getting all these live updates in the chat about Dallas scored, Dallas scored, Dallas scored. That's always great. When you're on a side. Yeah, when you're on the side and you're seeing all these comments that your team is scoring, that the team you bet on is scoring over and over and over again, it's great. So I sent Matt and Ryan a GIF, a touchdown GIF in our chat that we have. So it was great to see the Stars take care of business there. And did not like what Vetrano did to Robertson. He only got a $5,000 fine for that. But when you're grabbing a player, pulling him down with his head, and then once he's down, you push his head on the ice, I don't like that at all. So I did not like that from Vetrano against Robertson. I did not think that was good. So, but overall, small losing day. But we've got some great spots to talk about here on Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt. It is a loaded Saturday card, and we will jump right into it right now because we got a couple of games that are starting at the bottom of the hour here in about 15, 20 minutes from now. A couple of 12:30 p.m. Eastern early start matchups here to get the Saturday card off and running, beginning with the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the New York Rangers. We've got the New York Rangers minus 150 home favorites, 5.5 being the total in this game. You notice with this NHL under surge between these two teams, or under surge across the league the last few games, is that we have suddenly seen obviously more 5.5s with totals lately, a lot more. We're not seeing the deluge of 6.5 totals the last couple of days, and that's because we've started to see the unders cash in. It's a combination of things. I'm not going to reiterate my whole soliloquy and what I said yesterday about it, but the Cliff Notes version is lots of games, short period of time, no rest time, no recovery time, injuries add up, slows down the pace. Flu bugs and illness bugs are running through multiple teams. I know there's one going through Philly right now, which is why I think we've seen some late Ranger money prior to this game. And it's slowing down, pace, and the energy levels aren't, where they need to be. And you need to play with, great energy nightly, if you're going to be able to move your feet, skate with precision, and score goals. And that to me is, I think, All of that is helping to contribute to why we're seeing some lower scoring hockey as we approach the holiday season. Overnight, I moved on Philly, but their situation is concerning. They've got multiple players that are dealing with obviously an injury and illness situation here, including Dan Vladar's out, Christian Dvorak's out. Of course, one of their best offensive players is out for a long period of time in Tyson Forster. But at the same point in time, there's no chance in hell that I'm laying minus 150 with the New York Rangers at home. Can't do it. I'm on Philly. I'm on a small piece of the draw. I know Aaron mentioned that in the chat. He likes those two looks. I'm on both of those as well because I bet them overnight. And I'm not one that is going to buy out of a bet unless I've got a damn good reason to. And yeah, I know Flyers got a little illness going through the team, but there's not enough of a reason to totally buy out of fading the Rangers at home with what we've seen from them throughout the course of the season on home ice. We're waiting for this to turn around for them. As far as being able to score more goals and start stringing wins together at MSG. It's just not happening. Terry, did you get involved here? First game on the board, Flyers, Rangers.
Yeah, I was waiting until today, leaning with the Flyers, but I wanted to see, especially with the what the goalie matchup was going to be. So I am happy that I stayed off. Was hoping for Vladar here, but it's Urson. So the Rangers have the goalie advantage here. But there's no way I'm betting the Rangers at home. First of all, minus 150 is out of my range. Minus 130, minus 135 is about as far as I'll go odds wise. So minus 150 out of my range. I'm not taking the Rangers in regulation against this Flyers team who's been an overtime team a lot this year. Flyers have won 3 of the last 4 between the teams. 3 of the last 5 have gone over 6.5. Do you think we get goals here? Ultimately, I stayed off. If I was going to get involved here, it would be a Zegras Konechny point parlay. Seeing them both around minus 145 for a point. So I think if you parlay Konechny and Zegras together for a point, that would be how I would bet this game.
Okay, be careful with this, but Chris Otto's chart says that Philadelphia is on this, 9 straight first period overrun. I'm going to ride that, but it's a small bet. Like it's a Ranger home game. I'm not ever in love with an over there, but we, kind of have to ride this streak. I mean, it's 8 straight for the Philadelphia Flyers for first period overs. So maybe it's a little sloppy early. So, and it's only even money. Like you can get plus 100 right now with this over 1.5 in the first period. So I'm going to sprinkle on that just because of the Flyer first period over streak. Great point by Jonathan Davis. We love our situations involving players moving up the lineup, and obviously with a little shake up in the lineups here for Philly because of the situation involving the flu bug right now, and just trying to shake things up. Looks like Carl Grundstrom. Well, Zegras goal prop is worth a look anyway because he's been heating up lately for the Flyers. But Carl Grundstrom, I mean, upwards of plus 700, 750 for him to score. Carl Grundstrom's on the top line with Zegras and Konechny this afternoon. I'm getting in on that. I mean, these are the situations we love. I think Terry is someone that also, he looks at these situations too, where you got players up the lineup, not priced like it. And yeah, plus 725 at BetMGM for Carl Grundstrom. I know that when he was playing with the Marlies, Todd Crocker, their play-by-play voice, would always say, "Witness the power of Grundstrom" every time he would score a goal. I don't know where that came from, but hopefully we see the power of Grundstrom this afternoon. That would be nice because, again, plus 725 is one hell of a price for him playing on the top line. All right, Detroit, Washington, the other 12:30 p.m. Eastern game. Washington minus 150, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. I got to admit, there's not really any bet here for me in this game. I'm not Mr. Pass. I don't do that very often. I think across the NHL course of the season, I probably pass on 10% of the games or less. I mean, that is, there's not many games that I say I really have absolutely nothing going on, but this is one of those games. I think Washington, I could see Washington after having a losing streak, snapping out of it, shutting out Toronto 4-0 the other night. I could see that being a springboard, and now they string a few together because Washington's kind of been a team like that. They'll lose a few, and then they'll get a win, and they'll go on a bit of a run. But I'm not fading Detroit, as a plus 130 underdog. They're playing well, and right now, John Gibson is playing by far his best hockey of the season. He's on a 6 consecutive start winning streak coming into this game. 6 straight starts, he's been victorious. His numbers during that span are very solid. But Washington, I could see them, basically springboarding off the win against Toronto and putting a couple. Plus, they've done a good job beating Detroit repeatedly lately the last few years here in Washington. I think it's been a few years since the Red Wings in Washington have been able to beat the Capitals. So no bet for me here. It's a pass. Terry, did you get involved here? Red Wings, Caps.
Yeah, I hate to pass in the same game as you, but yeah, this one, the early games on Saturday tend to go in weird ways for me. I've noticed at least, but Washington definitely has won 4 of the last 5. If I had to bet a side, I would probably look at Washington, but
Mom's trip for Detroit, says someone in the chat. Yep. That's not an automatic the teams win in that spot. Just ask the Pittsburgh Penguins. How did the dad's trip go for them against Ottawa the other night? Yeah. Didn't matter.
Yeah. not too good. But I was on Russ goal in that game. I think I had a little bit on the over or the draw, which of course did not get anywhere. But this could be a good draw spot. This just has that feeling. Both teams, obviously Washington coming off a win, had been struggling. As you said, Gibson's been playing very well. Thompson in net for the Capitals. I think a little sprinkle on the draw could be a good look here. But yeah, ultimately I'm passing on this one.
All right, nothing wrong with that. All right, we move on to the next game on the Saturday slate. This one is at 3:00 p.m. Eastern time. Chicago, Ottawa. We've got the Ottawa Senators minus 250, home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. We don't have goalies for either. I'm sure it'll be Allmark for Ottawa because he's been getting consecutive starts in a row. It'll probably be him in net here for Ottawa this afternoon. Will it be Spencer Knight for Chicago? This seems about the time when Jeff Blashill doesn't usually run Spencer Knight 3, 4, 5 games in a row. Usually, eventually, he'll toss in an Arvid Soderblom start at some point, and this could be one of those games where I could see them going to Soderblom. I mean, Chicago is just dormant without Bedard offensively. We're just seeing it over and over again. What the record is now, 3-14-1 without Connor Bedard for the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, that's the first thing that stood out the moment he got injured, is that they have really struggled without him. And sure enough, what have we seen here in these games without him? They lose to Detroit without him. They obviously lose the first of the road trip. They blow that 2-0 lead to Toronto and lose 3-2. And, of course, they lose in Montreal the other night as well. So it's been a rough go here for this Chicago Blackhawks team, rough offensively. The only good news is Frank Nazar, who they desperately need. They need his offense now without number 98, and they finally got him on the board to snap a long goal-scoring drought against Montreal the other night. They need a lot more of that from him, but they need the other guys to step up. You need Bertuzzi, you need Burakovsky, you need pizza hands, Ryan Donato, to be able to chip in offensively. It's got to be done by committee. They haven't gotten Nick Lardis, the kid from our neck of the woods here, where Terry and I are, Hamilton/Brantford Bulldog alum, a great junior career, great junior player. He has not been able to find the back of the net yet for Chicago. Tough sledding. But the one thing that has been consistent with Chicago, even in the games without Bedard, they have scored an early goal, and they have also given up an early goal. So I think the first period over could be in play here. I don't like the full game over as much at all. I think this is more so a look to the first period over. What did we see against Toronto to start the road trip for Chicago? We saw the first period over hit, full game stay under. It ended 3-2. What did we see Chicago-Montreal? We saw a 1-1 first period. First period over hit, full game, though, once again stayed under. It ended 4-1 Montreal. I could see something similar here. We get the goals early. I don't know if we get them throughout the full 60 minutes, though. So, yeah, I'll get in on Blackhawks Senators first period over. That's all I've got here in this one. Terry, what do you think? Chicago, Ottawa.
Yeah, earlier on in October, it was really weird. I was betting on the Blackhawks all the time, and I was betting against the Wild. Very unlike me earlier on in the season. Now things are going back to normal here. The Blackhawks had a really great start to the season, but they're not a team that I trust to win games, especially right now, especially without Bedard. Now, having said that, this is a team that Chicago has success against. 13-1-1 in the last 15 meetings between these teams. For some reason, the Blackhawks like to face Ottawa for whatever reason. 3 consecutive overs between these teams. So a lot of high and over 6.5, not just 5.5, 6.5. 2 of the last 3 have gone to overtime. So we've actually seen some close games between these teams. For me, I'm taking Brady Tkachuk anytime goal here. Back-to-back games with a goal, 2 goals against Pittsburgh in his last game, but really shooting the puck a lot like he does. 3 games in a row with 5 shots on goal, at least 5 shots on goal in 4 of his last 5 games. So his shots on goal prop is 3.5 plus 135. I think that's a good look. Over 3.5. He's getting 5 shots on goal. I think he scores here for the Senators, but it would not shock me at all if Chicago somehow, if it is Spencer Knight, if Soderblom's in net, then I don't think there's a hope. But if Knight does start, wouldn't shock me if the Hawks hang around and maybe sneak out a win here and upset.
Yeah, I'm going to have to see it before I believe it. I get it at the price, plus 210. There's no chance I'm taking Ottawa at this number, but at the same time, I've got to see it from Chicago first. Like I said, it's been a rough go. And like I said, that record without Connor Bedard on the ice is damning. It's damning for Chicago, how putrid they've been without him in the lineup. There he is in the chat. Speaking of Chicago, he must have been hearing us talking about the Blackhawks. Alex B. Smith is in the chat. Hope he's enjoying his first couple of days here back home in Chicago. What a day to be back for him in Chicago with his Bears playing a huge game in Chicago tonight at Soldier Field against Green Bay. Battle for first in the NFC North on a Saturday night in December. My goodness, that's just love seeing that. Good old-fashioned Bears-Packers showdown that means something on a Saturday night in December. What's better than that? That's a good football game. Definitely looking forward to that.
Well, sure. Vikings-Packers is a very good matchup too now. Come on.
Get a Viking reference in there. I knew it. It's a great segue because we are now going to talk about the Minnesota Wild as they take on the Edmonton Oilers here this afternoon at Grand Casino Arena. I've finally gotten used to calling it that, although I miss the XL Energy Center. I just love that name so much better. Minnesota minus 125 home favorite, 6.5 the total here in this game. I mean, I'm riding the wave that is the Minnesota Wild. So I took a money line. I took a split it with team total over 3.5. They've scored 5 goals plus 3 games since the Quinn Hughes edition. I don't trust Calvin Pickard, quite honestly. I know he was good coming into the game in relief of Jari the other night against Boston. He actually played well to finish out that game, but I don't fully trust him here against Minnesota, who are showing a little more potency and firepower offensively of late. And Quinn Hughes makes a difference. You just move the puck better up the ice now that he's back there on that blue line for the Minnesota Wild. But I think Edmonton might chip in here. Gustafson's numbers are hit or miss against the Oilers in the past. So this is a full game. But my first full game over on the card is this game, over 6.5 here. I think a majority of the games in Minnesota between these teams have actually been trending toward over as well, because I'm just looking at it right now. The games recently between these teams, I mean, it's 6-3-1 to the over in the last 10 meetings, but the games in Minnesota, there was 1 2-1 game, but other than that, we've seen 5-3, 7-1, 7-4, 5-3 in all but one of the recent meetings in Minnesota between the Oilers and the Wild. So it's going to be 3 bets here: the Wild money line, team total over split, and an over 6.5 here around minus 105. Terry, what do you think here? You're Minnesota Wild against Edmonton.
Yeah, I don't think the Wild are being priced correctly. I don't think they've been being priced correctly for a while. It's funny, in October when they were losing, they were way too big of favorites. And I'm thinking, why are the Wild such big favorites during that time when they were playing really badly? But since November 1st, they've been one of the hottest teams in the NHL. And that's really continued, especially since getting Quinn Hughes. The Wild have had a lot of success against the Oilers overall, 12-5 in the last 17 meetings. Now, the road team has won 5 in a row in this series. So Edmonton did win back-to-back games in Minnesota last year. But the Wild are playing the best hockey I've seen in years. And they are getting some additions back. So not official who's going to be in the lineup. They might save a couple for tomorrow against Colorado. But Jonas Brodin, Jake Middleton, Matt Zuccarello, Vinny Hinostroza and Marcus Johansson are all off injured reserve. So all 5 could play tonight. Not sure if they put all 5 in here or what happens. That can be a great positive. Getting Matt Zuccarello back is huge. Getting Jonas Brodin back against the Oilers is huge. But with things going so well, you're putting guys back in. We're likely going to see some guys moved around. The Urov Tarasenko line has been so great together. That's likely going to get broken up here. So when guys coming back, you can see some things happening. But for me, looking at this game, I got the Wild at -120. I think they should be -150, -160 here in this spot at home. They've been so great at home this season. And the Wild do have the goaltending advantage. It was actually posted on Twitter there just earlier. The Edmonton Oilers have the goalie with the worst save percentage in the NHL and the worst save percentage in the AHL are now their 2 goalies. So they've officially got the worst goalie in both leagues as their goalie tandem. I like Ian's Wild team total over as well. But for me, Wild money line and Matt Boldy, they get to call him Matt Goldie, anytime goal here for the Wild. Did not score in that 1-0 game that the Wild played.
I gotta admit, with play on words with the goal, saying use when someone's a goal scorer and you try to mesh that with the name. Nothing can top goal Caulfield though for the Montreal Canadiens. That's as good as it gets. Yeah.
Yes, I use that as well. But Matt Goldie is, I think, second to Caulfield. But Boldy scoring 3 games in a row, 5 of his last 7. And as well, 5 of his last 7 against Edmonton. So Boldy's feeling it right now. I'll take him anytime goal. Take the Wild money line, and then I think we get goals here too. So would lean with the over.
There's a lot of good props in this game. 3-game goal streak for Boldy, no argument there. Kirill to throw Kaprizov, 3-game goal streak for him right now. You know what I'm going to do? I'm betting the guy that all of a sudden he's woke up from his coma. The corpse formerly known as Vladimir Tarasenko for the Minnesota Wild. Where the hell's that guy come from? Apparently all they needed was Quinn Hughes to join the team, and wow, this guy can figure out he's still got some offensive gifts in his arsenal. Where's that been all year? But nevertheless, here we go. Vladimir Tarasenko, hard to explain it, but back-to-back games with a goal right now for the Minnesota Wild going into this game. I think some of it, there is some truth to the fact that maybe he's getting, more puck touches now because of the Quinn Hughes just adding more mobility, and you're playing a little bit more in the offensive zone now. And he's formed a little bit of chemistry there with Zook and Urov playing on the second line. So, I'm just over plus 300. It's worth betting here for Tarasenko right now. Hartman is someone I'm interested in as well. He scored in the last game for Minnesota. You're getting plus 470, plus 475 with him. He's also scored 3 of the last 5 games for the Minnesota Wild as well, entering this one. So probably a good shot there. And for Edmonton, if I'm going to look at props, I keep repeating the same 2 players flanking Draisaitl, but it's true. I mean, if you're looking for value, you could bet Hyman, McDavid, the Nuge. You can bet guys like that. You don't want to bet the bottom 6 guys for Edmonton because you just don't get much from them right now. So much of their offense is the top 6 right now, but it's Savoy and it's Podkolzin. Those are the guys that have been really, really noticeable lately for Edmonton. He's back. We can call him the Tarasenko show again, Andrew G. No question. Yeah, Quinn Hudson, I don't mind a shot. You know what it's like. Guy can't buy a goal in his first few games. He finally scores one, and maybe that opens the floodgates a bit. Quinn Hudson, Lane's brother, getting his first NHL goal. It was a lucky goal, but he got it anyway against Boston the other night. So I don't mind that look as far as Quinn Hudson, maybe lightning in a bottle, can strike again here for a goal in his second straight game here. All right, next up, it's the last game of the afternoon games. Just want to point that out so everyone can get their bets in time. But this one is 5 p.m. Eastern. New York Islanders, Buffalo Sabres, minus 180. Oh, my goodness, for the Buffalo Sabres, who are playing well, but really, minus 180? Yikes. 6 the total here in this game. I ain't betting this side. Not a chance. I mean, I'm not laying minus 180 with Buffalo. I wouldn't bet minus 180 with Buffalo if they were, I wouldn't bet minus 180 with Buffalo if they were on a 12-game win streak right now. Still wouldn't lay this price with them. But it's a tough spot for the Islanders, though, back-to-back. They're not scoring all of a sudden. Last couple games, the offense has dried up for them. Well, John Leonard scored. Of course, I jumped off betting it, so those that did hit with the John Leonard bet, congratulations. He's just scored for Detroit, and they're up 1-0 on Washington. So good start there for the Red Wings in that game. But, yeah, as far as this is concerned, it's a pass on the side. Yeah, I don't mind what Alex is saying with the draw here in this game. I think the draw might be worth a look. I could see this being an overtime game, tight game, tightly contested. Yeah, I probably will end up dabbling a little on this draw. This is a lighter draw card for me than normal here in this game. There's not as many draw bets for me on this card today. But this one I might sprinkle on. The total is tough because Buffalo, they've been scoring and the Islanders haven't. So it's flip a coin with the total. What I want to point out, though, when I did my work on this particular game, Terry, not Islanders on a second of back-to-backs this year as far as totals, 5-0 to the under. Every Islander game on a back-to-back's gone under the total. So keep that in mind. Terry, what do you think here? Islanders, Sabres.
Yeah, Sabres were minus 150 last night when I did my show. So 30 cents line movement since last night. Quite a bit. Are people just figuring out that Sorokin played yesterday and that it's going to be Riddick today? Is that the reason for the line movement? I'm not sure exactly. The Buffalo Sabres, now I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not going to say that because we got to see it first. But they are in a good division right now. The Atlantic is kind of wide open. The Sabres playing really well right now and came back from that road trip. They had a few days off. Luckily, it wasn't just a day off. They had a few days off, followed that up with a win. I think the Sabres are feeling pretty good right now. I think they've got a lot of momentum throughout the lineup offensively. Ultimately, I'm going to stay off this game, but there's two players to look at. Tage Thompson, who scored in 5 games in a row, and Josh Norris. Josh Norris power play point. I really want to pull the trigger on it. It's plus 250. He's got a power play point in 5 of his last 6 games. Now, unfortunately, the Islanders do have a pretty good penalty kill. I think they're around 16th or 11th. I think they're 11th. So they do have a good penalty kill, which is going to keep me off it. But watch out for Josh Norris on the power play. He's been so great recently. And Tage Thompson, I should be betting him because 5-game goal streak, that's something I like to bet on. But he could be getting towards the end of that streak. So I don't know if I want to jump on here. So ultimately a pass, but I would look at Buffalo Sabres props, if anything, here.
Well, you mentioned a few, and I mean, it makes sense with Tage Thompson. It's funny. Tage Thompson, 5-game goal streak, and it coincides with the Sabres winning. Like, that's how important he is to the Buffalo Sabres. He scores, they win. And he's really on fire offensively, they win. There's no question about that. So, like I said, should be interesting to see how it plays out. Yeah, we have had a bunch of British Elite Hockey League guests in the past on this show, Andrew G. I don't know if we'll be able to connect with Milan Lucic, but like I said, we have had a bunch from that league. There's no question about that. By the way, we are in possibly going to get some of our old favorites back on the show in the new year. Danny DeKaiser from former Red Wing. Jason Demers wants to get back on whenever his schedule allows, although he's hectic like crazy right now, but he wants to come back and join the show for an episode. So we'll get some of those guys back. We'll get Kyle Bond on again in the new year for sure. So like I said, we're going to see if we can get the former guests from the past coming back here on the show in the new year when things start to settle down a little bit. Seems like everybody's crazy busy. I know what that's all about. But here's one I'll add to the ledger here for a Buffalo prop. This guy's got a bump in ice time, bump up the lineup. You mentioned Josh Norris. Well, this guy's playing with Josh Norris, and he scored in back-to-back games for the Sabres. Noah Ostlund for them. Noah Ostlund's a nice look to me. Back-to-back games with a goal, upwards of plus 520 for him to score a goal this afternoon for the Buffalo Sabres. So I like that value with Noah Ostlund for the Buffalo Sabres in this matchup this afternoon, playing on that second line. Emil Heineman is the one I keep coming back to if I'm going to look at a prop on the Islanders side of the equation. Top line for them, and obviously he's been able to find the back of the net for them throughout the course of the season. All right, we continue along now. The rest of the games are nighttime games. This one is at 6 p.m. Eastern, in Florida. We've got the Blues and the Panthers. Florida -1, looks like -170, -180 right now in that range. The total here sitting at 5.5, shaded to the over here in this game. What a game that was last night for the Panthers, a comeback win 4-3 over the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll see how they fare here in this game against the St. Louis Blues on a back-to-back. Rest advantage for the Blues might be the only advantage they have, because obviously this team has been just one of the big disappointments, especially for me, who was really high on the Blues coming into the year. They lose in overtime 2-1 against the New York Rangers. That's another thing. Stringing wins together has been a problem for them. 6-10 they are on the road. This Florida team, we've talked about it. They're heating up. They're playing their best hockey right now. And don't look now, they're going to get Matthew Tkachuk back very soon, likely early in the new year. So, like I said, Florida's going to be in the playoffs. It's just, and I wouldn't even count them out. Like, I don't even think it's crazy to bet them to win the Atlantic Division. I don't think that's crazy at all. They could still make a run and do it. And there's certainly, now would be the time to bet it if you're interested in the Panthers rolling all the way back to win the division. But they're starting to look like the champs again, and wait till they get everybody back. Obviously, Barkov won't be into the playoffs, if that. But obviously, they're going to get Matthew Tkachuk back soon. This is a tricky spot, though, for the Panthers. I don't think it's crazy maybe to look at a St. Louis first goal, first period. I could see them being a little sluggish out of the, come on, the big comeback win last night for the Panthers. Back-to-back, you're going to get Tarasov most likely here on the second night of back-to-backs after Bob got the start, goalie Bob last night for the Panthers against the Hurricanes. So I expect Tarasov might get the start. It's Joel Hofer already confirmed here for the St. Louis Blues. So I think I will dabble in that. It's hard to trust the Blues, but I think when you look at the Blues for most of the season, their best period has been their first period, and then they've tailed off, after that. So I don't mind that first period look there. St. Louis, maybe the first period money line too, but more so the first goal of the first period. I think they could maybe pounce on a Florida team riding the high off that big comeback last night. So I think St. Louis might get on the board first. Do I trust them to win the game? No. And I'm not trusting St. Louis to win the game for the full game. But that's definitely, I think, the first goal in the first period is a way to capitalize here with St. Louis on a potential sluggish, slow out of the gate start. That I get that spidey sense it could happen here for Florida after the comeback win last night. Terry, what do you think here? Blues Panthers.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it when we talked earlier about the recap of yesterday. I do not like this spot for Florida at all. Had they lost yesterday 4-0 against the Hurricanes, then I would be all over Florida here, probably on the puck line, as a great bounce back spot after last night. But after tying and getting the win against a really great Hurricanes team, now you have the Blues coming in here. The Panthers, if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to come out here and give their full effort. If they come out here and kind of have a sleepy, like, oh, we can beat the Blues type attitude, then they may lose this game. So this one, I think, is really tough. I think Florida does come out to play, but they have to give their full effort here on the second night of a back-to-back, even against this Blues team, because otherwise the Blues could get the job done here. So this one's a pass. If I'm looking at props, it's the Marchand, Verhaeghe, Bennett line. Is really hot right now. If you wanted to parlay their points together, I think Marchand, Verhaeghe point parlay would be a good look, but this one's a pass for me here.
For me with St. Louis, I agree with Jonathan Berggren, and possibly on the top line with Thomas and Buchnevich. And he scored his first goal with the Blues against the Rangers in their last game. So Jonathan Berggren on that top line, I think, is worth a shot, no question. Someone that also might be worth a look? He's gotten chances and chances and chances, and he hasn't always put them away, but he's been getting chances consistently to score, and hasn't always gone in. That's Dalibor Dvorsky for St. Louis. I just find this guy's always around the net for them. And he's been, he's given you a pretty good effort. Jim Montgomery has said multiple occasions he's been one of their best players, one of their best forwards, even in the midst of this dreadful season they've had. So, a Dalibor Dvorsky like I said, could be worth a look here for St. Louis. For Florida, I'm going to run it back with Anton Lundell. We've been riding his goal props lately. He didn't score last night, but man, if anyone watched that game against Carolina last night, he had a ton of chances. He was all over it, Lundell. Multiple chances to find the back of the net. So while it did break up his goal scoring streak, consecutive game goal scoring streak, I still think he's worth a look playing with Reinhart and E2 Cool Mint Lusterinen on that top line. For Florida, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Marchand continues to be a terror of a line right now. And don't look now, here's Sam Bennett with goals in back-to-back games. Don't let that guy get red hot. Don't let that guy get going right now for the Florida Panthers. So, like I said, some good props there that are worth a look. More of a prop game for me other than the St. Louis goal in the first period look, and maybe a smaller first period money line shot with St. Louis as well. All right, next up as we continue along here on this Saturday slate, we've got let me just see. Lost my place here on the screen. There we go. It's Vancouver, Boston. Boston minus 160. Home favorites. 5.5 the total in this game. Jeremy Swayman's going to start for Boston. Not a surprise that as great as Thatcher Demko has been, can't play him every night, and this is a back-to-back, and Kevin Lankinen is going to get the start here for the Vancouver Canucks. I know Jonathan was on this in our group chat, but he said this about the fact that Vancouver's just been a crazy, or Lankinen's really had rough go of late. He's lost 6 straight starts, I believe it is, coming into this game tonight against the Boston Bruins. Back-to-back for Vancouver. That being said, I was interested in Boston in this spot, but minus 160? Oh, my goodness. Didn't make it a bargain now, did they? They didn't make it a bargain. That being said, it's clear Boston spot. Rest advantage, Vancouver back-to-back, the inferior goalie. And right now, based on Demko's performance since his return, there is a wider gap probably than last year between Thatcher Demko and Kevin Lankinen. There just is. I mean, Lankinen has not been anywhere close to the same goaltender as last year. Meanwhile, Demko, you could argue, has been even better so far this stretch than he was at any point last year. So, like I said, there's definitely a bigger gap now. So I would only bet Boston here, but not at minus 160. Maybe a Vancouver, because they're on a back-to-back. We see this sometimes. Sometimes the team on a back-to-back has the jump early, the adrenaline from the previous night. We see the Canucks maybe score first, and then if we can get the Bruins at plus money during the game, I'll be interested at that point in taking Boston. But just don't want to get involved here, minus 160 pregame with it. As far as props go for this game, we've got some lineup shakeups here for Marco Sturm's team. We've got Marat, there's a guy from his Minnesota days, Marat Husnadinov here for the for the Boston Bruins, former Minnesota Wild. Looks like he's up with Lindholm and Pasternak here tonight, possibly for the Boston Bruins. So there's definitely a prop that's ringing the value meter for me. Marat Husnadinov. Morgan Geekie continues to be just sensational, of course, for the Bruins, playing with Zacha. Middlestad's even starting to percolate here in recent games for Boston. On the Vancouver side of the equation, it was another Kiefer Sherwood night last night for them. He was great. Still have yet to see Marco Rossi tickle the twine since he's joined the Vancouver Canucks, but I think that might happen, sooner rather than later. But like I said, I'm going to target Boston live if I can get plus price. I could see the team total over cashing too if you want to bet something on Boston pregame. But again, I didn't love that number either. I was hoping for 3, at even money or just a little bit of juice. The 3.5, I lean that way. But like I said, I might wait, see if I can get a better in-game price and number with the Bruins team total as well. But it is definitely a Boston spot. You will not get any argument here from me on that. Terry, what do you think here, Vancouver, Boston?
Yeah, this one's kind of tricky. If I was getting to anything here, it'd be Boston regulation plus 100. I do think that's the right bet here. Thatcher Demko, luckily, he's not going to be in net here because he's playing really well. And I asked Vancouver fans after the Quinn Hughes trade on my show, are you guys ready to embrace the tank? And I was told yes. But since then, Vancouver has yet to lose a game. So I think that's in large part Demko's fault for ruining Embrace the Tank. But here in this one, I do think this is where the Canucks win streak here comes to an end. Boston minus 160, though. The Bruins have been a great dog for me. I've loved betting this Bruins as a dog, but at minus 160 in this one, it would have to be Bruins in regulation for me, which I think is the right bet here at plus 100, but no play for me at this time.
All right, nothing wrong with that. I do want to mention, I will mention this at the end of the show when we do bargain bin special, but Alex has a bargain bin special from this Vancouver and Boston game, so we will save that for the bargain bin special. He actually has one for the Chicago-Ottawa game as well, so we'll save that for that. I'll make sure to mention Alex's bets, his bargain bins, and his best bet at the end when we end the show, but because he sent that to me already, so we'll get all that mentioned. But yeah, he does have a bargain bin here from this game. Canucks team total under, says Terry. Terry Ray Vegas in the chat. Yeah, Boston holds opponent to 2 or less. 6 of the last 7 went off a loss. They've held the opponent to 2 goals or less. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Swayman's in net. Swayman had a rough start to December. He's been a little bit better here in his last couple starts for the Bruins. So we'll see if he's able to negate the Canuck attack here tonight in this game. All right, next up as we continue along here, we've got Pittsburgh and Montreal. Montreal minus 130, minus 135 in some spots. The total here, 6. Well, most of the 6s that I scooped up a 6 earlier, but a lot of it has moved to 6.5 right now with this total. One thing I did, the mistake I made with the Pittsburgh-Ottawa game was I went with the full game over there instead of Ottawa team total over as the best bet. And, of course, the Ottawa team total over hit, and I didn't get anything out of Pittsburgh in that game. They got shut out 4-0 by the Ottawa Senators. This time I'm splitting it up evenly. And I'm actually going to go over by Fecta. So the over I'm going to split between first period and full game here in this game. We also have Pittsburgh off a shutout. So that triggers the system. We're off a shutout loss, which Pittsburgh is. We like the over by Fecta usually. Last year it was awesome. It's been a little bit more up and down of late. But, yeah, I'm on over by Fecta here, split with the first period full game over. But just as much on those 2 bets, I've got Montreal team total over 3.5. I mean, it's just mechanical bet right now for me until Pittsburgh shuts a team down, until Pittsburgh closes the door defensively and stops giving up 4 goals on a nightly basis to the opponent, which they've done, in 6 straight games now? They've allowed at least 4 goals to their opposition. Until things change, we're taking the team total for any Pittsburgh opponent until things change. They've given up 4 goals in every recent game. It's part 2 of the dad strip. Part 2 of the dad strip didn't make their defense any better Thursday night, and the first part of it, dads can't play defense for them. So, yeah, like I said, Montreal team total over 3.5. I like it. And this is regardless of who's in net. I'm expecting, obviously, Skinner to be in net here for the Penguins. He is. They go back to Jacob Fowler tonight from Montreal, who hasn't been really all that special since that first NHL debut against this Pittsburgh Penguins team. And that's another thing to factor into this handicap here. This is going to be the first second look. The first time a team gets a second look at Jacob Fowler here in the NHL, because he made his NHL debut in Pittsburgh against the Penguins. And look, he played great, but I'll argue the team played pretty damn good defensively around him in that game against Pittsburgh too. But now you're giving this Penguins team a second crack, a second look at the same goaltender in a little over a week. They're going to have a little bit better idea of what to expect. So the fact that he's been alternating between Fowler and Dobish, I expected Fowler, and he beat Pittsburgh, so it makes sense why Marty St. Louis is starting Fowler here, but I expect Pittsburgh to do a little more damage here. Second look against a goalie now that they'll have a little more idea what to expect, familiarity, what the tendencies are. The goalie coaches can scout weaknesses in Fowler's game, probably have a little bit more of an idea what's coming. So I think Pittsburgh's going to chip into the offense here tonight. So I like the over by Fecta, Montreal team total over as well. Just, again, trusting this Pittsburgh defense to do what they've always done lately, allow at least 4 goals. Terry, what do you think here? Penguins, Canadiens.
Yeah, I got the over 6 yesterday, locked it in earlier on. Looking at this one here, like you said, Montreal team total over is a good look as well. I think both cash here. This Pittsburgh Penguins team got off to a great start and everyone was thinking, oh, look at this Penguins team. Maybe they're going to actually have a great season, make the playoffs. But we've really seen recently they just can't get a save when they need it. They're just giving up a ton of goals right now. Montreal, 3 games in a row with 4-1 scores. So obviously not 1-0, 2-0. They're still 5-goal games, just not quite getting to the over. But I like this over here. I think we get goals on both sides. I think this is going to be a great game, and I think this is going to be a history-breaking game. Give me Sidney Crosby over 1.5 points to not only tie Super Mario, but to
break
pass
his record. Yep.
But to pass
Montreal,
him here.
where he's had a lot of success over the years. Yes. His favorite team growing up. Yep.
Exactly. So he's at 1,722 points right now. Ties Super Mario with 1 more goal and passes him with 2 multi-point games in 2 of his last 3 games in Montreal, but he's had 3-point games in those 2 games. So especially the Penguins off a 4-0 shutout loss, I think we get a great effort from the Penguins here, especially Crosby. So give me the over. Give me Sidney Crosby over 1.5 points, which I got for a plus 230 here, which is great odds.
Great stuff. I'm on Tommy Novak. He's moving up to the top line with Crosby and Rust tonight. That was spotted by Jonathan earlier. I agree with it. I mean, obviously, if whoever's playing in that left wing side with both of those 2 guys, Crosby and Rust, it's worth a look. So I'm on Novak. I like the other 2 that Jonathan's posted in the chat for Montreal. Tessier should have scored last game. He had a goal called back, disallowed the other night, I believe it was, against Chicago. We thought we were going to hit Tessier bargain bin there, but it wasn't meant to be. His goal got taken off the board, but he had chances. He almost scored with that one. He's been more noticeable lately, and Bolduc on the top line, and he finally got the monkey off the back, of not scoring in a long period of time, especially at home in Montreal. So Zach Bolduc, value with him with Suzuki and Caulfield on the top line. So those are some good looks there with the prop market. Kapanen, here's the thing with Kapanen, just off the top of my head, and I know this is true. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know he scored a lot on a Saturday night. I don't know what it is, but you go back to the very first, game of the year, scored on a Saturday night. He's been a good hockey night in Canada type of guy, Oliver Kapanen, for some reason. So this might be an Oliver Kapanen type of night for Montreal. Sprinkle on his goal prop. I could see him getting on the board here tonight because I think he's done pretty well on this day of the week throughout the course of the season. All right, we got Toronto and Nashville next up here. Toronto currently minus 130. Wow, holy shit. Whoa. Hold the fort. They ain't minus 130 Toronto anymore. Was Toronto minus 130. That's definitely what I saw overnight. Holy shit. It's even money now. What a move to Nashville. 20 cents at least. 30 in some spots. But even money right now. Minus 110 for Toronto. Minus 110 for Nashville. The total 6 in this game. And the betting markets are clearly crashing on the Leafs after just one of the more pathetic, horrific, embarrassing efforts. Not performance, effort. Because that's what it was, in my opinion. It was effort. It's not lack of performance. It was lack of performance, but it was times 2 lack of effort for Toronto against Washington. Craig Berube nailed it as far as that game. They wanted it more passion, more urgency. I love how he said, how do you explain it with where you are in the standings? I don't know. Ask them. Should ask them. How do you play like that when every point is so valuable right now for this Toronto Maple Leafs team? So, like I said, there's been a move to Nashville. I don't want anything to do with Toronto right now. I'm not taking Nashville in this spot either, but I know I don't want Toronto here at the moment. This is probably a game I'm going to stay off now. I do want to point out that with these 2 teams, we've seen 6 and 4 to the under. That being said, the last 2 meetings have gone over. This is Toronto off a shutout loss entering this game. Nashville now, after that torrid over the total streak in their games, kind of cooled off a little bit. 2 of the last 3 now have stayed under between these 2 teams. I'll get in on the first period over this game. This has some parameters that I like with a first period over. Nashville's off the loss to Carolina, where they got pretty firmly dominated in that game. They did. I mean, they did get dominated. That was all Carolina. They really put the clamps down on Carolina put the clamps down on Nashville in that game. You got Toronto off a shutout loss. There's probably a little bit of urgency as far as first period, getting out of the chute quickly, getting on the board as early as possible. So again, with these recent nights that we've seen the NHL play out, first period over and then not totally sold that translates into a full game over. Like, I'm not on too many over bifectas today. Pittsburgh Montreal is probably my only game where I'm going first period and full game over. There's not a lot where I'm doing that. I'm picking one or the other. Edmonton, Minnesota, I'm only on the full game over. Chicago, Ottawa, I'm only on the first period over. This game, I'm probably only on the first period over because I could see it slowing down a little bit after that. Joseph Woll should be in net for Toronto. He is, obviously, after they gave Hill to be the start against Washington. Back to Joseph Woll. They're just trying to pace him, as he ramps his way back from his recent absence. Saros should be in net for Nashville. Not confirmed, but I fully expect it'll be him. So the only thing I got pregame here is a small piece of the first period over. Terry, anything here? Leafs, Predators.
Yeah, 13 games on today's slate, and unfortunately, there's quite a few of them that are tricky in my mind. So unfortunately, this is another pass for me here. Nashville was one of the worst teams in the NHL, and people at the beginning of the year, they were looking like they might finish with the worst record in the NHL, but have played very well overall recently. So they're not an auto fade. Their last 3 losses, 2 losses to Carolina and 1 loss to Colorado. That's not bad. If you're losing to Colorado and Carolina, you can't be too upset about that because most teams lose to Colorado and Carolina. So Toronto's had a lot of success, 5-1-1 in the last 7 meetings. If I'm taking the Predators, I want plus money, which I'm not getting here. So I can't take the Predators at these odds. The only thing I could get to here, if I was going to look at something, would be Forsberg and O'Reilly point parlay. Both have been producing for the Predators a lot recently. Of course, O'Reilly facing his former team / hometown team. So I think he's a good look. Forsberg's been great for the Preds. So I'd parlay those two together for a point. But other than that, pass here in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to also take a look at Michael Bunting for Nashville. He seems to have a knack of scoring against Toronto when he plays them. And this goes back to when he was with those other teams before getting to Nashville, Pittsburgh and Carolina. It seemed like he would score against the Leafs, which, of course, was a team he played with a few years ago. So maybe a Michael Bunting for Nashville as far as player props are concerned. They need Nyes, Matthews, and Nylander to play a whole lot better. That was incredibly bad how non-existent and visible they were the other night against the Washington Capitals. It puts more onus on, the other players down the lineup to make things happen. But there's been a bunch of things, Nick Robertson, Easton Cowan, John Tavares has slowed down. They haven't gotten as much as they should from Nyes, Matthews, Nylander. They're big guns. You can't always rely on Dakota Joshua, Nick Waugh every night. Max Domi's not giving you much. That's why he's on the 4th line. Bobby McMahon slowed down. Just a lot of issues. Just a lot of players not reaching the offensive ceiling they did last year for this team, and we're definitely seeing signs of that. So, Bunting, everybody's backing me up here with Michael Bunting. Yeah, I agree. I think his prop there worth a look. All right, Carolina, Tampa Bay. We've got Tampa Bay minus 120, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Obviously, the Tampa Bay situation with their injury report is worth noting. Brandon Hagel's out. Nikita Kucherov was a late scratch, very late scratch prior to the game against Los Angeles, and I did not appreciate that. A lot of people didn't either. Like all of a sudden, right at the last minute, whoa, Nikita Kucherov's out, and we see what happens. This is now a pattern without Kucherov. This offense has gone dormant without him for Tampa Bay. There's been a couple of times he's missed a game, and it's just, I think there was an Islander game too, a game against the Islanders where he didn't play, and they didn't score, and they lost. Same thing against Los Angeles. No Kucherov, no offense, and another L as they lose 2-1 to the Kings in their last game. Now, granted, Anton Forsberg, surprisingly, with a tremendous outing in net for the LA Kings in that game. But we'll see. Like I said, Perlo says Kucherov is back here today. Obviously, that makes a world of difference for sure. Game time decision was the last I heard on it, but that does sound like maybe he's trending in the right direction if that is indeed because usually game time decision means he might play. So we'll see if that's the case. They did get Ryan McDonough back in the last game against LA. So finally now just three starting defensemen and 3 good ones still out. But at least they got Ryan McDonough back, but still no Victor Hedman, no Eric Chernak, no Emil Lilleberg, who I think is an underrated young physical, good defenseman in his own end. So like I said, something tells me after blowing that game last night, Carolina, they start strong. I don't know, maybe they fade as the game goes on. It's back-to-back. We'll have to see who's in net, too, because I'm always waiting on that with Carolina. They got the 3-ring circus in net right now, although suddenly Freddie Anderson has not gotten his admission ticket to the circus of late. He's become the forgotten man, and I don't fault Rod Brindamore for that one bit. He hasn't been good, for the majority of starts we've seen him in net. So I would expect with Bussy starting last night, Pyotr Kochetkov is probably going to get the nod here. We'll have to wait and see if that is indeed the case. Right now I'm anticipating Kochetkov. We just haven't gotten confirmation yet. Very, very tempted by Carolina first goal, first period. I am, because Tampa's, suddenly had a little habit of giving up that first goal. I think a little peeved, a little miffed, a little pissed, if you will, that they had that 3-0 lead against Florida last night and couldn't bring it home. This is not a game I love until I get the goalies confirmation on the Carolina side, but I think I'm interested just from a situational on Carolina first goal, first period at plus money here in this game. John Cooper says Cirelli's playing, Hagel's not playing, Kucherov a game time decision, says Jonathan Davis in our chat. So like I said, lots to sort out here. But like I said, definitely interested in possibly Carolina first goal, first period after the way that game ended last night. I think in the first period they could be revved up, maybe jump on Tampa first in this game, even though Vasilevsky's likely going to start here for Tampa Bay. He came back against LA, and it probably will get the nod here in this one. Terry, what do you think here? It's obviously a good matchup. 2 good teams in the in this Eastern Conference, Carolina, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I can't get involved with the side or total in this game without knowing the goalie. No. Now, some teams, doesn't really matter too much. Some teams have like a 1A, 1B type thing where it's you could go with either goalie. And Carolina, if they only had 2 goalies, then if they only had Bussy and Kochetkov, those 2 combined are 17, 2, and 1 on the season. 17 wins, 2 losses, 1 overtime loss. Anderson's 5 wins, 7 losses, and 2 overtime losses. And the goals against average save percentage are not even close. So it should 100%, it should be Kochetkov here. But I'm wondering if they try to give Anderson a start to kind of give him maybe one more chance to get back into things here. I don't know if this is the spot against Tampa Bay, but Carolina's going to have to make a decision with their goalies. I say trade Anderson to Edmonton because Edmonton seems to like those kind of goalies that are not playing well. So I think he would be a good fit in Edmonton. But Carolina has to do something. I can't get involved without knowing the goaltender. Losing Jarvis, which might be, it sounds like potentially long-term, is not great either. But it is a good bounce back spot for Carolina here.
Easy for you to take. Yeah.
Yeah. So this game is really tricky again. I think it's going to be a great game. Maybe the draw is a good look, but again, I need to see who's in net for Carolina here.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially when we see the difference for so many of these teams as far as the starter to the backup. It's important to know who's going to be in net in a lot of these games. And like right now, I think it's Kochetkov. Like if you ask me right now, I'm expecting Kochetkov. Like they haven't played Anderson in eons because of how rough a season he's had. Why would he start now when clearly it's become a Bussy and Kochetkov exclusive rotation here in the last week or so? So we'll see how that goes. As far as props go, again, Bjorkstrand is on the second line. We don't know yet for sure if Kucherov's going to play. So you're going to need to find offense from other sources if he doesn't. And Bjorkstrand is streaky. Finally scored in the last game. I could see him maybe finding the back of the net here. Let's see if this line combination stays the same. But if, again, this is probably if Kucherov doesn't play. But right now I'm seeing Gensel, Cirelli, and Paul as potentially a top line. And if that's the case, Cirelli has value, and especially our guy, Nick Paul. This might be the time to get back in on Nick Paul again, one of our goal prop value bargain bin favorites over the years, maybe to find the back of the net here for Tampa Bay. All right, so the next 3 games, we got 3 games left. They're all the late games, late night West Coast action, Seattle and San Jose. San Jose minus 115, home favorites, 6 the total. I mean, this line looks remarkably cheap. I don't even care. I mean, I'm sick of trying to talk myself into circles here and fretting that it's the same fretting I did with why is Minnesota the other night only minus 115 against Columbus, and I'm fretting and why is this line so short? And I talked myself out of, well, I bet Minnesota, but it should have been a bigger bet. I kept it a small bet because I'm like, what's wrong with this line here? It seems peculiar. And Minnesota ended up still getting the job done, 5-2. There was no trap. There was no, I wasn't, the bait getting reeled in by the rod and the fisherman. That was not the case. This is San Jose for me. And I know they haven't been favored very often. Finally, they are, but they're rightfully favored here. They're better than Seattle right now, flat out. Seattle's a disaster. Seattle's a mess. Give me the Sharks here, minus 115. It's really that simple. Terry, what do you think here? Seattle, San Jose?
Yeah, I think there's 3 different ways you could go here. I think you could take the Sharks to the money line. I think you could take Sharks team total over and the full game over. I think we get goals here. The Kraken have been giving up 4 goals a game as of late. 4 against Calgary, 5 against Colorado, only 3 against Buffalo, 5 against Utah. The Sharks, 6 against. They scored 6 against Pittsburgh, 6 against Calgary, only 3 against Dallas in their last game. But I think we get goals here between these 2 teams. And previous games between these teams, 3 overs, 1 under, and 2 pushes in the last 6 meetings. So I think you could go that way. And then props, you got to look at that top line for the Sharks right now. Celebrini is absolutely on fire as of late. And there's value with, I'm probably going to mess up his name, but Igor Chernyshov. Back-to-back games with the point on that top line, plus 135 just to get a point.
Yep,
so
I agree.
like that.
Yep.
Colin Graff plus 125 for a point. So good looks here. I think the top line for the Sharks have success. And then if you're looking for the Kraken, Chandler Stevenson's been great. And I said on my show, he's probably trying to get himself traded. Jonathan Davis was saying, who's going to take on that contract? Which is probably right, but he's on a heater right now. Maybe trying to get himself in the trade market. But, I think this will be an exciting game between the Kraken and the Sharks.
Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I would lean a little bit to the over here in this game. I like the San Jose money line, and the team total over looks a little bit more. I mean, this ain't that. Lane Lambert wants defensive hockey. Problem is he's not getting defensive hockey. Look at these Kraken results during this 1-9 tailspin in their last 10 games. They have, and remember, this San Jose team total in this game is 3. 3 at minus 118, I like, just for the security of having the 3. Over 3 minus 118. Or you can get 3.5 at a plus price here with the San Jose team total over. But look at this Kraken team. They're trying to play defensive hockey, but they're not right now. 4-9, 4-4. They gave up 2 goals to LA. Big freaking deal. LA stinks offensively. 5 goals allowed to Utah, 3 to Buffalo, 5 to Colorado, 4 to Calgary. I mean, they have given up 4 goals or more. This Kraken bunch, they have given up 4 goals or more, this team, in 7 of their last 9 games. And so, you look at the team total, 3.5 here, or 3.5, depending on which number you get. I mean, I like it. Sharks can get 4. Doesn't even matter who's in net. It's probably going to be Decord, but really doesn't even matter. And if it's Grubauer, no problem there. Still liking San Jose and the team total over. He's not a guy that's going to shut the door at this stage of his career. It looks like Yaroslav Askarov projected in net for San Jose, but not confirmed. As far as the props, everything you said, I echo. Stevenson's the guy for Seattle. Graff, I'm on Graff again. Plus 325 for him to score. Colin Graff. And I'm not giving up on and Chernyshov. I don't mind the look there on the top line. And I'm going to go once more with, we won't bet him again if he doesn't score tonight. But John Klingberg one more time, because he had been on a multi-game goal streak. He didn't score the other night, but going to give that a shot one more time here. That the Klinger, John Klingberg, can find the back of the net. Still getting a great price, plus 600 to find the back of the net. So those are some of the props I'm interested in here between the Kraken and the Sharks. And San Jose is starting to become a little bit of an over-trender here. 3 straight overs easily, 11, 9, and 8 in the last 3 San Jose games for total goals, 11, 9, and 8. So easily going over the total. So there's lots to like here. Like I said, Sharks money line, team total over, full game over. I think all of them. I like here for this Sharks-Kraken matchup. All right, 2 games left. We've got Columbus and Anaheim. Anaheim minus 115 home favorites, 6.5 the total. This game was always dependent on how would that Dallas-Anaheim game go last night. If it was Anaheim upsetting Dallas last night and Dostal had played well and Anaheim wins that game, coming back on a back-to-back with old man Mrazek for his first start, because this was the game he was supposed to start, Peter Mrazek. This wouldn't have been a spot I'd be interested in much with Anaheim, but it's totally changed when you look at what happened last night. 8-3 beatdown at the hands of the Dallas Stars. Joel Quenneville, didn't mince words in the postgame. We weren't any good. It was ugly. Unacceptable was the term he used. And he made a point of it to get his team to realize, hey, it's not good enough. Got to be a lot better than this. Even though you're playing a good Dallas team, can't be playing like that. Can't be that haphazard with the puck in that game last night against the Dallas Stars. So after a game like that, I would expect a much better, stronger effort from Anaheim, maybe a little bit of a dig in defensively for them. And I'm also expecting Lukas Dostal to start tonight. I don't know this. We haven't gotten it confirmed yet. But when you think about the fact that Mrazek had to come in the first period, it was the right call. It wasn't Dostal's best. And plus, they weren't very good in front of him. But it was the right call at 4-1 to take him out last night and put Mrazek in. But then Mrazek, when he went in, it wasn't good. And look, they were just as bad with Mrazek in net. But still, Mrazek looked rusty. Mrazek looked, like a guy that hasn't started very much, in the last several weeks. So, while this initially, I think, was Coach Q planning on giving Mrazek this start against Columbus, I think he's now going to go back to Dostal after getting pulled last night. He only didn't even get through the first period. He's pretty fresh, considering he only played not even a full period last night. Give him a chance to get back in there, get back on track, get his game back. No question about that. And I think Anaheim plays well tonight. I do. Not to mention, it is, short turnaround revenge for Anaheim. They lost in overtime earlier this week at the end of their road trip in Columbus against the Jackets. Ville Husso, of course, was in net. He's now been sent down. I think it's going to be Dostal. I don't know this, but it's an intuition call on my part that I think Dostal is going to be in here for this back-to-back and get a chance at some redemption. So I'm going to go with the Ducks here. Quack, quack, minus 115. Plus, we have evidence, Terry. We have evidence of this team in a spot similar to this and how they responded to it. There was a game earlier this year, home against Utah, just as ugly. They lost 7-0. They got absolutely hammered by the Utah Mammoth on home ice, 7-0, back on December the 3rd. You know what this Anaheim team did off that loss the very next game? Now, it wasn't back-to-back. It was 2 nights, but still, off that kind of a defeat on home ice, 7-0, shutout loss against Utah, they beat the Washington Capitals, one of the better teams, obviously, in the Eastern Conference. Beat them 4-3 in a shootout, and I remember that game. They were outstanding. They didn't give the Capitals much. They controlled the flow. They carried the play. They outshot the Capitals by 38-21 in that hockey game. They played a hell of a game. They responded the way you want a young team to respond off getting their ass beat and after getting their ass handed to them. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see something similar here tonight. So I'm going to go with Anaheim. I'm also going to go with Anaheim team total over because I'm looking at this series history, Terry, especially in Anaheim. Jackets versus Ducks in Anaheim. I'll rhyme it off for you. The last 4 meetings between these two teams here at Honda Center, and Anaheim's gotten to 4 goals each time. 4-4, 7-6 goals scored by the Anaheim Ducks the last 4 times they've hosted Columbus here in Anaheim. So I will get in on the team total. I will do a money line team total over split here for Anaheim tonight in this game. And that team total, by the way, is over 3.5 at around plus 108. Terry, what do you think here? Jackets, Ducks?
I remember that Ducks and Utah game because I was on the Ducks in that game when they got a touchdown scored against them. So I remember that one quite fondly, or not fondly, but quite recently. Looking at this one here, I completely agree with you, Ian. When I was looking at this game yesterday afternoon, I could not pull the trigger on anything until I saw how last night's game went facing Dallas. And I was totally intending on taking the over here in this game. But with Lucas Dostal getting pulled, if they don't go to Dostal in this game, if they do go to Mrazek here, I will be taking the over. But might be a spot where I look to live bet it, because do we see this move to a 7? Like, Ian, you were talking about all the 5.5s we're seeing, we're seeing a ton of 5.5s. Yep. But could this one move to a 7? I think it's possible. Minus 130 right now for the over. I don't love the odds with that, but I do think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think the right way to go is to take the Ducks team total over and look at the Ducks. After getting such a horrible loss yesterday, now they have this Columbus Blue Jackets team coming in who has also been struggling. So it's not like the Ducks are facing Colorado. If they had to face Dallas and then Colorado, I want to be on the Ducks here in this spot. But I think it's a great spot for the Ducks facing the Blue Jackets here. I like their team total over, but I do want to see what happens in net here. I do expect it to be Dostal like you, Ian, because he only played, not even the full first period. And if you want to bounce back, putting Mrazek back in wouldn't really be signaling that you have confidence in bouncing back. So, I agree with you.
Yeah, here's the thing. And yes, I should point out, we haven't even mentioned this here with Columbus. Obviously, they made a trade last night. Mason Marchment acquired from the Seattle Kraken. I think for Seattle, Marchment hasn't been a good fit there right from the beginning of the season. You're not going anywhere anyway. You got to try to unload some of these guys and get prospects. That's long-term vision for the Kraken. Get prospects, get draft picks for a guy like Mason Marchment. It wasn't a great fit from the very beginning for him in Seattle. Now he goes to Columbus, at least with a team with a puncher's chance, at least to contend for the playoffs. As far as him being in the lineup, there's a chance he might be in there tonight. We'll have to wait and see on that. It's a pretty quick turnaround, though, less than 24 hours. They're playing this game since the trade, but at least I think there is a chance that we might see him in the lineup. This is not the same situation as Phillip Danault, who was acquired, and that's the other trade last night, Montreal getting Phillip Danault back in Montreal with the Canadiens again from the LA Kings. It's a big difference. Mason Marchment's just got to go from Seattle to, Anaheim if he's going to join Columbus for this game. Short trip. You don't have to cross the border. Phillip Danault, it's a different situation. It's still going to be, they said, a few days before he makes his Montreal debut, because he's got to go from LA to Montreal, cross the U.S.-Canada border, do all that visa nonsense before he's finally able to play. So from that standpoint, it's going to be a few days before we see Danault. We might see Marchment with his new team tonight with Columbus, maybe as early as this game tonight. So, like I said, keep an eye on that. But either way, I like Anaheim moneyline team total over split. I almost went to Anaheim first goal, first period too, but they did give up the first goal in that game against Washington. That game where they got smoked by Utah, they did actually allow the first goal to Washington the next game, but then they battled back after and won 4-3. Columbus is where he went. Columbus is where Mason Marchment got traded. So again, I don't know if it's Dostal, but I've just got that intuition, that feel, that feeling that he is going to get the opportunity here to rebound from that performance last night. All right, last game for this Saturday slate. We've got Calgary hosting Vegas. Vegas Golden Knights right now minus 125, road favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. We haven't had many draws, but I'm ending the night with a draw. I'm on the draw here, Vegas and Calgary. I think there's overtime potential. I think Calgary, when I watch the way they've played lately, effort's been good. They've been scoring a little bit more than we become accustomed to with the Flames during this 5-2 run. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here. Vegas has been played a lot of overtime and shootout games of late. They've been a draw magnet to the tune of 5 of their last 7 games have gone past regulation. 6 of the last 10 have gone past regulation for the Vegas Golden Knights as well. So a lot of draw parameters, a lot of draw flags, a lot of draw indicators pointing to potential for overtime here in this game tonight. Don't really feel strong about either side. Don't really know if I want to take, or I should say fade Vegas either, considering they're coming off the loss at home to New Jersey in their last game. We also have to get an update on the personnel situation, because in that New Jersey game, reason why the Devils were live to win that game, no Jack Eichel, no Shea Theodore. They were ruled out in that game and didn't play. Will they get either of those two guys back tonight? That remains to be seen. I don't think so. So that's another reason why this line is pretty cheap here toward Vegas, only laying -125. And we saw without them, they take a hit offensively. They just do. I mean, only one goal the other night against the New Jersey Devils. Yeah, there you go. No Eichel or Theodore for the entire trip, says Jonathan. So there you go. They're both out for tonight. So So I think Calgary's got a puncher's chance. I don't know if I want to take Calgary at only +105, but I'm happy to take the draw. I think it's a close game, and Vegas, a lot of draw cashes for them lately. I think this is the potential for another. Terry, final game. What do you think? Vegas, Calgary.
I think you're right on. With the draw. Vegas has had a lot of success against the Flames, their division rival, 5-0-1 in the last 6 meetings. Both meetings this year were not overtime games. 4-2 win in Calgary and 6-1 win at home against the Flames. But that was earlier on in October when the Flames were a total mess. They've been playing much better as of late. They've gone much better goaltending, which has really helped them. So, yeah, when you look at this game, Vegas just seems to go to overtime all the time. They already have 10 overtime losses. So when they do go to overtime, they are finding ways to lose games. I think you're right on with the draw here, Ian. I can't get to any player props here just with what's going on with Vegas. I would lean with Pavel Dorofeyev in some fashion, but not going to get to any props here.
Yeah, it's not a big prop game for me here. Yeah, 100% different. All you have to do is watch with New Jersey. They're a lot less threatening in the offensive zone, especially, and it's a big deal not having him. Unless all of a sudden, are you going to get something all of a sudden from, Riley Smith has been pretty quiet lately. Mark Stone's been a little bit hit or miss. You're not getting much. You don't get much from Cole Reinhardt, Colton Sissons, and Keegan Colasar. When's the last time that fourth line's done anything offensively for Vegas? So like I said, it's just they take an offensive hit without Jack Eichel. So like I said, the draw's worth a look. 2 of the last 3 meetings at the Saddle Dome between the Golden Knights and Flames have also gone past regulation. So like I said, a lot of draw parameters. The draw's the best option for me in this game rather than either side or either total for that matter. In fact, I'm not running to bet, and even at 5.5, I'm not running to bet over with Vegas, without Eichel in the lineup. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Great job, filling in by Terry here on the Saturday show. Make sure you check out wizardsportspicks.com. Again, it's been a great run on the website and all the tons of great handicappers there. Like I said, college football, NFL, or not college football. College football has not been a great season, but NFL, NBA, college basketball, and NHL winning profitable seasons year to date for me up at wizardsportspicks.com. So nice to be profitable and all. And you always want to be winning at more than one sport at a time. You're not going to win at every sport every year, but to say that I've got 4 sports in the green right now, I'm happy about that. NFL, NBA, college basketball, and NHL profitable on the season. So check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. Tons of premium picks for today. Huge slate of Saturday sports. If you want college football, we got stuff for you. If you want college basketball, we got stuff for you. NHL, we got stuff for you. So again, wizardsportspicks.com, and check out Beyond the Lines videos. Matt Robinson does 2 of them. I'm going to do the Sunday video tomorrow, so check out the Wizard Sports Picks YouTube channel as well. As you should also check out patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, all the bonus content. Make sure you check it out. $10 per month. Of course, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. The afternoon bets are posted from me and Alex, and we'll get Terry's best bet and bargain bin posted on the page as well. later, but we'll have the night card, the night games posted later this afternoon on the Patreon page, just alerting people to that. Again, get on board, just $10 per month. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. I know a lot of the members with the daily card, they've more than made the $10 per month back that they spend on the Patreon membership. So make sure you check it out. $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys, and also the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Get on board, get yourself some gear and some merchandise to end the year. Great items available at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Royal Cannabis, where the kings and queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis. Check them out, royalcannabisshop.com. 20% off with the promo code IceGuys. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Well, certainly got a lot to choose from on this huge mammoth Saturday slate of NHL action. Terry, we'll start with you. What do you got for bargain bin special of the night?
Yeah, I actually have two because the one is starting here in an hour and 20 minutes. So I wanted, obviously, viewers on the show that watch the replay later, I wanted them to have a bargain bin as well. So my main one is Brady Tkachuk anytime goal parlayed with Matt Boldy. Anytime goal in the 2-3 o'clock games plus 405. I think that's a great anytime goal parlay. And then for later on in the night, Sidney Crosby over 1.5 points and Macklin Celebrini over 1.5 points plus 682. Small sprinkle on that one, but I do like it for later on in the night.
All right. There's a couple I wanted to mention. These aren't bargain bins. These aren't my bargain bin specials officially, but I am going to bet them, and they are bargain bin worthy prices. Werenski at north of plus 300. Have to take him. He scored in back-to-back games for Columbus, even though I like Anaheim in that game. Granlund in that game, too. He scored in back-to-back games for the Ducks, plus 360. So those are a couple I didn't mention that I think at the bargain bin worthy prices are worth it. But my official two bargain bin specials for this Saturday slate, I'm also going to go with an early game and a night game for bargain bin special. The afternoon game, we're going to trust in the Tarasenko show. Vladimir Tarasenko, Minnesota Wild. All of a sudden, he's found his goal-scoring prowess again. Back-to-back games with a goal, and been much better and more noticeable offensively since the addition of Quinn Hughes to the Minnesota Wild. So plus 340 for Vladimir Tarasenko for the Minnesota Wild for my first of two bargain bin specials for this Saturday. And the second one, it's someone I've cashed a bargain bin special with recently, and we're going to see if we can get one more here with him tonight. Colin Graff, San Jose Sharks, plus 325. So there you go, 2 bargain bin specials. Vlad Tarasenko, Minnesota, plus 340. Colin Graff, San Jose, plus 325. There you have it for my 2 bargain bin specials of the night. All right, best bets for the Saturday slate. Terry, we'll start with you. Best bet.
Give me the over 6.5 in Pittsburgh and Montreal. I know we've been getting a lot of unders recently, but I think we get goals on both sides. I love the over 6. So if we can get the 6, take the 6. But if not, I still like the 6.5. I think we get to at least 7 goals between Pittsburgh and Montreal.
Good stuff. Pittsburgh, Montreal, over 6.5 for Terry Edelman with his best bet. My best bet, I'm going to bank on the Anaheim Ducks here. Quack, 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 quack. I trust in this group because they've shown to me before that after getting their doors blown off, they respond the right way with a good effort, a hard effort, a 60-minute effort, clean things up defensively. They went from getting absolutely destroyed by Utah, 7-0 at home earlier this year, and they came back the very next game and they beat the Washington Capitals 4-3. They outshot them 38-21. They've been a great bounce-back team, and they're also looking for a little redemption against this Columbus team after losing to them in overtime earlier this week at home. So I will get in with Anaheim here tonight in a bounce-back spot. I know it's the rest advantage for Columbus. Anaheim played last night, but I'm willing to back them on a back-to-back. I think they show up here strong, and they get the job done. So Anaheim minus 110 is the best price out there with the Ducks. Anaheim to get the job done for my best bet here for this Saturday NHL card. Terry, anything you want to add? I'll tell everyone where they can find you, obviously.
Yeah, you can follow me over on X at TE Picks, and then Terry Edelman Picks on YouTube. I do my show Picks on Net daily as well. Heavily focused on the player props is my show mostly, but yeah, rocking and rolling right now in the NHL. Hoping to have a good night here on Saturday.
No doubt. Looking forward to it. And like I said, looking forward to hopefully a good Saturday night. Lots of winners, a profitable night. Terry, great job joining the show. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. Hit the like button. I have over 400 live viewers at the moment. Great to see that. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Terry Edelman, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And my right-hand man, Alex B. Smith, is back in the house tomorrow on Sunday. So join us then, Sunday, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.